Coach Prime and Colorado have a quarterback controversy after Colorado's win against Delaware, where Ryan Staub came in and really had a great performance in Colorado's win against Delaware. Colorado has a bit of a question mark here as they face Houston on Friday as they open Big 12 play. And there's a big question mark in Boulder as to who the starting quarterback is going to be. We saw Caden Salter come in for Colorado, actually pretty efficient, 12 for 15. 2 series from Julian Lewis, the freshman, and then Ryan Staub takes over. I think Colorado should start Caden Salter against Houston, and I'm going to break down why with my main man, Alcorn State coach Leroy Frederick, who joins the show to react to the weekend of college football that just went down, including Colorado's victory versus Delaware, Florida, and Billy Napier's loss to South Florida, as well as Steve Sarkisian saying Arch Manning doesn't have an injury after a clip goes viral of Arch Manning seemingly throwing the ball and looking a little hurt there. We're going to react to that, Cam Ward's debut, and so much more here on The Other Side. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of a college football review here for week 2 on Bailey Price Media Live, starring myself and Alcorn State assistant head coach, Coach Leroy Frederick, who joins the show to break down the weekend of college football that went down. A lot of games to react to, and we're going to really headline the show with Colorado versus Delaware. Colorado's got a quarterback controversy, like I mentioned, and oh boy, I got a lot of opinions on it. Coach Fred, I sure got a lot to say as well. And we're going to break that down, talk a little Florida, talk a little Titans here and more. If you're in the building, go ahead and pound that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. That's super chat button is open. If you'd like to donate, leave a super chat button. Help the show grow. Everything goes back in the show that you donate. So hit that super chat button, help the show grow. And I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here on this fine Monday. Without further ado, I can't thank this man enough for joining. His time is valuable and his perspective is legit and genuine. And I can't thank this man enough. Main man, Alcorn State, and Alcorn State assistant head coach and host of the Common Man podcast, my main man, Coach Fred. Coach Leroy Frederick joins the show. Coach Fred, how you doing? Happy Monday.
Yes, sir. What's going on, B? How you doing today, man?
I'm good. It's a great day. It's a great day to be here. And the season is full in swing here, Coach Fred, and we got a lot to discuss. I'm not going to waste any further time here. We got to discuss the thumbnail here. Colorado has a quarterback controversy, to say the least, here, and we're going to dive into this in College Football Review Week 2. Coach Fred, Colorado took on Delaware at home out in Boulder, and man, I ended up winning 31-7. And if you didn't look any closer, it would just seem like a normal victory. But in actuality, I think there was a lot to take away from this game as it pertains to Colorado season as a whole, and a lot of question marks going into their game against Houston on Friday as they opened Big 12 play. They played 3 different quarterbacks, opened with Caden Salter for a couple series, then went with the freshman Julian Lewis. Julian Lewis looked a little nervous, a little young out there. I thought Caden Salter played well for the most part, did what he was asked, went 12 for 15 passing. I still think that there is a part of him that's limited. I don't know what it is. He said he played sick in week 1. I don't really give a shit. Flu game it, whatever. But part of me is like, I know I've watched Caden Salter play for the last 4 years. I know it's in him. I know he can do more. With that said, Ryan Staub, who he's been in Boulder for 3 years. He's one of the last players left from the pre-prime era. I'll say he has been there and really worked his way up. And man, he actually has a really impressive performance. Really takes command of Colorado's offense. starts slinging the ball down the field a little bit, opens up Colorado's run game a little bit, I will say. I'd like to see them lean into it way more, but that's a different discussion. And leads Colorado to victory after the game. He has a press conference with Coach Prime. He's coined, Martin Luther Staub, as they call him. He said, "I have a dream." Coach Prime coined him that, and he's going to have a legendary nickname for the rest of his life. Coach Fred, what was your reaction to this game before we dive into it further?
Just catching up, going through it. They have, like you said, I think there's a quarterback issue, but I think you got to go with Salters, right? Just because of the experience until something else pushes you away. But Bailey, they have a bigger issue as I'm sitting here going through my notes. Mm-hmm. Bailey, they gave up 396 yards.
Yes, they did, Coach Fred. To Delaware's, by the way, Delaware 396, Colorado 398. I told Matt that's an issue.
Yes, and 300 through the air. We know the Houston Cougars can push the ball through the air. So they have a whole nother set of issues that have risen. They did lean into your run game a little bit, went over 100 yards. But like you said, I think that's going to be the stabilizer for them going through the rest of the season. But if they don't get that pass defense fixed, they're going to be in trouble. And we know everybody in that conference loves to throw the football. So once you show that you can't stop it, man, it's going to be a long season until you get it fixed.
Bingo, Coach Fred. And as we dive into Colorado's, because I think, yes, defensively, Colorado certainly got to tighten up, got to solve the issues with the run game. Defensive line's got to be much more physical. They're missing a key part of their defensive line, Samson Akomla, or we call him Sammy Sachs, because I'm going to butcher his last name, but we call him Sammy Sachs. Haven't seen him. I thought Arden Walker played well for the most part. I thought French played well at the outside backer, middle backer position. He's all over, and I actually really like him. I think he's a super energetic player. Defensively, I think they got to tighten up, and we'll see how they do week 3 against Wegeman and Willie Fritz in Houston. You were saying, Coach Fred?
No, I was just saying, going through what you said with their defensive line, they got to be able to create some pressure. Delaware, who's a newcomer or about to be a newcomer to the FBS out of the FBS.
First season. Yeah.
You give up 396 to a 1AA team, so to speak. These other teams are going to be, licking their chops, man, waiting to get at you. So we'll see what happens. But the quarterback situation, man, I think you've got to go with your experience, and you've got to, like you said earlier, you've got to give him some help, and then you got to cut it loose and let him do what he does. Because I'm like you, I saw him at Liberty. I know he has different facets to his game. I know he can throw it, but he can also run it. So that could help your run game as well. I know you don't want to run him a lot because of what you have behind him, but those are those little hidden yardage that can help you time of possession and, again, give you a chance to get off the field with your defense and help your run game. So it's got to be Salters, but those two guys are up and coming. Then you also know that the young kid is making a lot of NIL money, so it ain't going to be too long that he sits over there and just collects that fat check and not have to put in any work. You know what I mean?
Bingo, Coach Fred. And before we move forward here, because I'm going to break down why I think Caden Salters should start for Colorado against Houston, I'm going to get Coach Prime and show Coach Prime's comments on the quarterback rotation for the Delaware game. Take a listen.
I decided that 2 days ago, and I prayed a lot about it, and I wanted it to tell its own story. Instead of me telling the story, I wanted it to tell its own story. So the plan was each quarterback was going to get 2 series apiece, and that's what they did, and somebody was going to come out of the pack. And then once Staub got 4 because he was consistent, then I wanted to give the other guys another opportunity. So that's what we did. We went back to the start, and that's how it kind of played out. But I'm proud of all of them, I really am.
Coach Fred, what do you take away from those comments there before I dive into Salter?
I think, maybe it was more to the quarterback battle. That to me says that they weren't settled on, their guy that they rolled out there as number 1 coming out of camp. In this game here, they circled as an opportunity to see what those other guys would do in live reps. I didn't think it was a quarterback battle, but to me, that comment right there sounds like there was a true quarterback battle. that they just weren't really sure on. And then this was another opportunity, an open audition for the position.
No, that's a good point, Coach. And I'm concerned about the quarterback position a little bit. I think of Staub. You know what? I mean, we can dive into it. I think Colorado should start Caden Salter against Houston. I think Colorado's offense looked the best with Caden Salter against Georgia Tech. And I thought that if Colorado had leaned into the run game, that offense could have looked even better. Now, Ryan Staub absolutely saved the day for Colorado against Delaware. I think he looked great at times, but he only threw 10 passes. I mean, he went 7 for 10. He did his thing, absolutely came in and saved the day for Colorado. They needed an absolute spark. The locker room is behind him. He's been there and done that. But I also think that, Coach Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, but especially a kid like that who's been there for so long, if he was that good and everyone's talking like he's the starter now, why wouldn't you give him a shot over Salter in the spring? Just because Salter's a 5-year kid, if he's the better kid in practice and why wouldn't you give him a chance earlier if this is the narrative here? Because I think Salter should start. I think it's going to be an absolute battle this week in practice between Staub and Salter. I think Julian Lewis, we've established that he needs a little bit of time to develop a little bit and sit. 2 questions. Do you think they should start Salter against Houston? And then why couldn't they have given Staub an opportunity earlier?
I definitely think they should Salter start him versus Houston. And, as far as, the Staub situation, I just, again, you start to win that locker room, so to speak, and guys start going above and beyond for you. And, those passes that may be off the mark, guys are able to come up with those because they're playing for you, they're rallying behind you. But that only goes so far. You know what I mean, Bailey? That only goes so far. So at some point, the guy that's the most talented is the one that you got to go with. So to me, coming out of the spring, like you said, I got to believe it was Salter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you're going to go with the guy that you feel at the time gives you the best opportunity. So I got to believe it was him. Coming out of there. And I just think, okay, maybe this kid has just worked and gotten better. Locker room favorite. So it's starting to take off. And then this performance last week doesn't hurt his status in the locker room. So if there's any stumble or stall, I wouldn't be surprised to see him very early.
No, that's a good point. If Caden Salter comes out against Houston and does not look the part, don't be surprised to see Staub quick. With that said, Colorado, I mean, it's a short turnaround. It's a Friday game, so you really only got Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday to really kind of test it, rep it out and practice a little bit. There's no way you can rep 3 different quarterbacks with first-team reps. It's just not going to happen. So I think it's really going to go to a priority of Salter and Staub. And let me make this clear. I think people understand. I mean, there's overreaction of just sports media, social media about this situation. I think people are selling Salter short a little bit. I think he can absolutely operate Colorado's offense and throw the ball. And I can only imagine the pressure with that. I'm saying Caden Salter can run Colorado's offense. If they lean into the run game, he can absolutely sling the rock here. He did it against Georgia Tech. I thought his performance in Georgia Tech was pretty damn good. Coach Fred, what do you got to see from Caden Salter in practice this week? What does his mindset have to be? And same with Staub as well here, the quarterback battle here. What does that look like in Colorado practice this week?
His mindset has got to be that of the starter. He can't go out looking over his shoulder because he goes out to practice this week looking over his shoulder or feeling pressure. You got to feel that, he's in control of it. I got to believe he is. And you've got to help him in that situation. Now, if you're going to come out of guns and blazing and just throw it 50 times, okay, that's fine if that's what you're going to do. But you got to let him know that. And I think it's got to be – you got to lean to what his strengths are. Again, it's not the same offense he ran over at Liberty, but you know his strengths. You know why you brought him there. Now you got to lean into it this week in the game plan for him, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach Fred. And my gut tells me, I don't know. I sit here and I'm going to preach, run the football. I don't know. Prime might just want to air raid it out. And if Staub, I mean, I don't know. I think Salter can do what they need in the pass game. I also think I don't know. I thought they didn't really lean into the run game as much in the first game as maybe they did this game. And even then, I'm like, yeah, they ran for 100 yards. But, like, when you got DeKalen Taylor and Simeon Price. Here, hold this one. If let me get the Kalen Taylor, Simeon Price running both at 6 yards a carry, I'm like, dude, lean into that a little bit. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not going to take away too much. It was a victory, but it's also against Delaware, Coach Fred. So I'm like, that's why we battle out this week. Find out Friday, but I think you roll with Caden Salter. I think Caden Salter bounces back in practice this week, and that's what you're going to find out. If anything, Coach, it creates competition, right?
Oh, ain't no doubt. Nobody's comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Or we could play like it's like Luciano in the chat, like James Madison. James Madison got all kinds. They play Matthew Sluka. They play the other kid. I was watching that game. I'm like, that's so interesting. It's like within series. They're like Sluka will play a play. I mean,
I watched that. That's got to be tough because you got to keep up with all three strengths within that game plan. Saluka can run it. All right, Louisville knows he can run it, but we got to throw a few passes in there to keep it on. I mean, that's a lot of work right there. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I just, man, I just don't want to see it. I want Colorado. I think Colorado needs to find their starter this week. Coach Fred, what did I said? I said last week, Colorado needs to find their offensive identity against Delaware. I just don't know if that's the case. I think the quarterback thing has become a distraction from that, to be honest.
And then again, I'm kind of like you said earlier. Maybe they just want to aerate it out, and that's what it is. That's what it is. But
sure, yeah,
you got to commit to one or the other. Bailey, you know, and I know everybody says they want to be balanced, but nobody's 50-50. That's just not possible.
Yeah,
you got to go with what your strengths are, and you got two backs averaging over 6 yards a carry. I think you got to lean on that.
Definitely. It seems like the offense with that should be catered to Salter a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they want to lean into the run game here, Coach.
Friday night, baby.
Find out Friday night. That's right. Against Houston, Willie Fritz, Wegeman, the transfer quarterback. Man, Big 12 showdown here on Friday, Coach. But let's move forward, sticking across college football here. Before we move forward, I wanted to dive into some HBCU news here because some of the coaches we've been discussing, the newcomers, and I'm really interested in your reaction to this, or just general reactions here. Michael Vick, Norfolk get their first win, and also Deshaun Jackson and Delaware State get their first win. And against UAlbany, I was like, okay. I think that's a big win for them. No, that program has been, needs wins. So, Coach Fred, what was your reaction to these two victories over the weekend?
Deshaun Jackson's victory was really surprising, and don't want to overshadow Michael Vick's victory, but Deshaun's victory was very big because it's a FCS deal, right? FCS to FCS. Yeah. And UAlbany has been really good the last couple of years. I think the portal has kind of decimated that program from what it was. They were a playoff team a couple seasons ago, not that long ago. Yep. And last year, Delaware didn't see this win nowhere near the start of the season. So I think his win is very big. Coach Vick's going to be on the struggle bus for a little while, I think. Division II opponent get taken to overtime, but they got the victory nonetheless. But if I had to take which one was the bigger win, the bigger surprise, it's definitely Delaware here, Delaware State, definitely.
I saw they took on Delaware, ironic, in week 1, right? And they were 30-point underdogs or something. And I was watching that game. I have all kinds of games on, and I'm just flipping around. I'm like, they're actually competitive. That's actually because that was a close ball game at one point. I thought, especially in the first, I was like, okay, like I had this. Who knows with the transfer portal, Coach Fred? Like you mentioned, these are figureheads. Like in a sense, Dion was at Jackson. Like they could just attract recruits. Just based off the name alone, I mean, it takes a lot to recruit a kid out to Delaware, especially to go play for Delaware State. I mean, Delaware is now in the FBS, so Delaware State's really, that's a tough spot. But man, shout out to Coach Jackson. It's a huge victory. I knew I gotta get your opinion on it, Coach Fred, as your perspective yourself, an active D1 HBCU coach yourself. But man, good victories for them over the weekend. We'll continue to the season in depth. You were saying?
No, I said no doubt. Big victories, man. And I appreciate you putting the spotlight on it. No doubt here on our show, man. That's big time. Again, like you said, it's tough to get kids to go to Delaware, man. And he's doing a good job right now. So let's see when the season starts to change.
Yeah.
What I mean by season, I'm talking about the weather.
Yes, exactly. Let's see how that plays out. Get November, and we'll discuss. But man, let's go from HBCU to the SEC. We're gonna go all over the place here today on a college football review here on this fine Monday. This is gonna be an interesting one here. Coach Fred, a viral clip went around over the weekend of Arch Manning throwing and seemingly looking hurt in Texas's game against San Jose State. Now, Steve Sarkisian has come out and denied this, saying Arch Manning does not have an injury. Take a listen, Coach.
Arch Manning seemed to be having some throwing pains by the
According to
fourth
who?
quarter. Arch?
Arch said that to you?
No.
Oh, according to who?
It just looked like he was.
He doesn't have any.
Is there an explanation to why it looked like that?
I don't know. I've never filmed any of you guys when you're using the bathroom, so I don't know what faces you make when you're doing that.
Sark, you talk.
But I will say, though, if you watch this clip, I mean, people have a point. It seemingly, he just looked like he's wincing a little bit there. I don't know. Coach Fred, what is your reaction to that? You're an active coach. What's your reaction?
He's hurt. The kid's hurt. The kid's hurt. I mean, by his response and just the how do you want to put that, Bailey? The snappiness to his response.
Yeah.
That tells it all, man. The kid's hurt. And, coach is trying to, I feel, overplay or, get off the fact that the kid's hurt. But, I got to believe the kid's hurt just because of how he came out. And then, guys get snappy. And according to who?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Did he tell you that? So.
Exactly. I mean, they may be out there without the running back Trey Wisner. Now they take on UTEP this weekend. This is going to be something to watch, I suppose. Arch has an actual injury, Coach. You believe it? I can't believe Sark came out flat out and denied it. When I was like, oh shit! All right, it's going to get interesting here. Now,
this is the perfect week though for him to go out, play 2 series, and then we just wanted to rest him. We're in control of the game. But keep in the back of your mind now, injury prevention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the absolute week to do it against UTEP. I think they're starting the kid, the former 5-star kid. I might be wrong here, but Malachi Nelson, I think, is starting down there. Maybe I'm wrong, but man, this is absolutely the week to do it. Arch Manning, I thought, played better against San Jose State for the most part. Granted, San Jose State, I think, is extremely down this season. I mean, it's been a rough 2 games for them this season. I will tell you that. I had a tough game against Central Michigan in week 1. So, but credit to Arch Manning, good performance, but something to watch with the injury bug. Sark's response here was certainly, I don't know if maybe telling, Coach?
I think so. That yelled, he's hurt to me. According to
boy, could be trouble for UT Austin, but I don't know. Texas got the win last week at San Jose State, so winning cures all, I suppose, Coach Fred.
Yeah, we'll see. But I got to believe he's hurt, man.
Uh-oh. Let's go. We got to address some more SEC problems here because, Coach Fred, you might have a comment on this as a Florida boy yourself here, but I got to ask you I need your instant reaction here, your actual opinion right off the bat. Should Florida fire Billy Napier? Is Billy Napier on the hot seat? Florida drops their week 2 game to South Florida in interesting fashion and seemingly some interesting clock management late by Billy Napier. He falls to 20-20 at Florida. Here you see the previous 4 records of the 4 previous coaches at Florida. Dan Mullen, 31-9. Jim McElwain, 22-12. Fired before game 40. Muschamp, 24-16. Urban, like Dan Mullen, 31-9. Coach, what do you got to say about this as a Florida boy yourself? Is Billy Napier on the hot seat after Florida's loss versus South Florida?
Yeah, man, he's right back on it. He got off of it at the end of the year, and I think he's right back on it now just because of you got to remember, Bailey, the amount of money that people are putting in these programs right now, that your payroll was probably 3 times higher than USF's payroll, right?
Yeah.
And there's
500K to USF and Golish to lose.
Yeah, and you paid them for that, and so you've got money all over the field. You've got a check out there, the whole 9. So it's no longer, yeah, he did a great job last year finishing the season. They had some big wins, and Lagway is the guy. He's right back on the hot seat after this one here, man.
Uh-oh.
Hate to say it, but he's right back on the hot seat.
I'll tell you right now, Florida has a gauntlet of a schedule. I previewed their season. They have a gauntlet coming up here. Take on LSU this week. Got to go to Death Valley. Got to go to Miami. Then take on the Longhorns at home. Then got to go to College Station and take on A&M. Mississippi State just had a massive victory against Arizona State. They look much improved. Georgia, Kentucky played Ole Miss pretty tough. Ole Miss, fuck. Coach Fred.
He might not survive the next three.
Fuck. Is there any one of these games they could get? Like, because I'm like, Miami, Florida is going to be a dog fight.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. In-state. We know what, going on with that, with the trash talk, all that. That's going to be tough. And then you're thinking about the LSU game on the road. Equally as tough.
Jesus. I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm an optimist here, Coach. I'm trying to figure it out. Where can they – I mean, fuck. LSU looks like – and I've been I've been pretty critical of LSU this offseason. They look pretty damn good, Coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he may not – I hate to say it, being in the business, they're pretty upset. Everything is a knee-jerk reaction. If he goes 0-3 in these next three, that could be, and he has a pretty large buyout, no doubt about it. But they also gave the guy in Texas A&M a year ago, 2 years ago, they also gave him like 75 not to come back to work. So
he's talking about Jimbo, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you caught this clip. I'm like, if you got your players spitting and shit, and I know your reaction, Coach. Like, what in the fuck are we doing here? Trouble in Gainesville.
Oh no, and then and that wasn't just the only one. You had 11 for 103 yards, and then that one being caught on television. But let me say this, Bailey, I don't know who 56 is, but he has a lot of control.
Bingo.
He's got a lot of self-control. Oh, ain't no doubt.
Exactly.
That ref would have not been able to get me off of him. You know what I mean? At that point.
Seriously.
And I don't know where this comes from with, this cycle of players that is what they do now. I've seen that happen, several times to where, like, kid, do you realize what would really happen to you if you spit on the wrong person? Like,
seriously.
Bro.
Shout out to 56 on South Florida. A lot of self-restraint there. Probably Coach Fred or I wouldn't have had in the situation.
Oh no.
Going back to Coach Napier, he is not giving up play calling duties. He will be continuing to call plays, and we'll see how that goes for their loaded schedule against. They got to take on LSU this week, and they go to Miami, etc. But I'll leave it at this: Gator fans are already starting the Lane Kiffin to Gainesville. I'm already seeing it. It's just gonna throw it out there. I mean, Lane coming. They're doing a doc. I mean, it'd be good for business for Lane, but that's just Gator fans are throwing it out there. Coach, any comments?
He ain't coming. If you're Lane, would you go after what's happened to the last two? No, pressure in Ole Miss. You know what I mean? Just when you're 8-9, he's under no pressure. You go there in Florida, they want it instantly. So there's certain programs, man, that if you just, you just want the heat, like Lane to Alabama, why would he do that?
Good point.
But we already knew the guy following Nick Saban was going to be in trouble. But you go to Florida, they want you right back instantly to Urban Meyer days. And that just ain't what it is anymore. You know what I mean?
Bingo. We'll find out, Coach. We'll find out. Ole Miss, certainly. Good spot for Lane right now. I will say that. Billy Napier might be in trouble. Let's Coach, this is something I'm really curious on your reaction. I think we discussed this. Bill Belichick has doubled down on his comments. Bill Belichick came out and said that he's banned Patriot scouts from UNC practice here. Now, UNC took a tough loss against TCU. He came out and said that, and then he has doubled down on these comments, Coach Fred. Take a look.
Comment on that, provide some sort of explanation on that.
Yeah, well, no, it's clear that I'm not welcome there around their facility, and so they're not welcome in ours. Pretty simple.
Coach Fred, you know how much of like a supporter and like a whatever. I mean, I've been really covering this team a lot in the offseason. I can't help but look at this as selfish, because what are you gonna say? What if a kid? Was it? So a kid, you can only go to 31 NFL teams at that point. No, like it just is. I don't know. I think it harms the kids over some petty shit. I'll get your take though. Go ahead.
That's petty at its finest, and I'll be petty too. At this point, I think him and Jordan discussed that, and I think that's what she said he should do. Don't let them come there. You know what I mean? And so, because you can't tell me, man, Bailey, that ain't, if that's not some 18 to 24-year-old type ish right there, man. I mean, professional. You made a lot of money from the New England situation. You won championships there. Okay, maybe it didn't end the way you wanted it to end. Be bitter, but don't be bitter to the point that it hurts your program, other kids. And Coach, you better than that, man. You know that. If you got a problem with Kraft, work it out with Kraft. But you made you made a ton of money there. So at the end of the day, 18 to 24-year-old stuff there, Bailey.
Seriously, Coach Fred, you have a great point. I just am like, man, not that North Carolina, I mean, maybe right now have a ton of NFL players on their roster. I just am like, when you pride yourself on being the 33rd, I mean, stuff could get really interesting in Chapel Hill if this is how it's going to go. And
we know how the NFL is now. They'll link up and be like, you know what? Okay, we ain't coming.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't come, nobody else is coming. And then guess what's going to happen to recruiting?
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this, Coach Fred. Michael Lombardi got the general manager there. I'm really interested to see how they handle this. It's going to be something to watch for sure. Man, Coach, it's been a good review in college football here. Actually, Monday Night Football tonight here. You got Caleb Williams, Fingernail Peyton. Before we continue reviewing some more games here, do you have any input on Monday Night Football tonight? Who you got? I got Vikings. I'm just going to say that. I think they're way better of a team than the Bears overall.
All eyes will be on the quarterback situation for both teams.
True.
For me, you know what I mean? And then I know I'm going to have to tune in to our guy, JB. I'm sure he'll be doing some live breakdowns on his favorite player, the starting quarterback for the Bears. So be interested to see that. But if I had to pick one, I would take the Vikings just because of the weapons. I think they have enough. And if JJ can just get it close, those guys are able to make some plays for him.
No doubt. No, seriously. I mean, something tells me the Vikings pass rush is going to be an absolute problem. It's just something tells me it. And I've heard some things about the Bears quarterback room. I'm like, boy, Caleb, you better play well. Boy, I mean, they extended the kid Badgen, the D2 kid behind him. I mean, shoot, there's a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams.
Jaden Daniels played well yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I think if Minnesota can run the football, how do we not look at this J.J. McCarthy situation like a Brock Purdy in a sense? Why couldn't he just go up there and tear it up a little bit, especially if they have a run game like Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey? I mean, that's so much of the reason why Brock Purdy looks so damn good, in my opinion.
Christian had Debo in his tip top when he took over. Had Kittle. So yeah, I mean, to me, JJ's in the perfect situation. Like I said, he's got two bona fide guys outside. He has a very good tight end, and if they can get the running game like they had last year, started off early, I'm like you, just hold it in the middle of the road, JJ.
Yes. Well, we're gonna find out. That's like a pick'em game for those who bet. We'll find out. But give me the Vikings tonight. Coach, I got to go back to your Florida State Seminoles because they won basically 100-0 against East Texas A&M. No offense to them, but I mean what are they? I don't even. I mean, it was at like 77-0 at one point or something. Coach, how are you feeling about your Seminoles? They seemingly are in a pretty good spot headed into Week 3.
They did. I think the scheduling really helped them. You come off a big game with Bama.
7-3. Let's go.
You come off a big game with Bama. The next week, mentally you already know it's going to be some sort of drop off. So now you got East Texas coming in, and they didn't start out super fast, but once they got to clicking, it was rolling. And the bright spot of that, Bailey, was that the QB threw the ball down the field and was on point, which is what I really wanted to see more of. So I think Gus has now got a two-headed monster thing going on here with the run game and a kid that can be pretty accurate down the field.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I'm interested to see how they look against tougher competition. But, I mean, shit. They played pretty damn well against Bama. Whipped the hell out of East Texas A&M, which is what they needed to do. I said that. And now let's go to another blowout. And I got to – Coach, Mike Gundy – ooh, shit. They get blown out. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State get blown out by Oregon 69-3. I just – what has happened to Oklahoma State, man? 69-3, Coach. This has become like that's like playing Portland State score. Like no offense to Portland State either, but like when I think of schools that I'm like, they probably lose by that much. That's what I think of. Now it's like
not Oklahoma State
losing that. I think he might be resigned, fired, something at the end of the year. What do you got to say to that?
If that don't put him on the hot seat, Bailey, I don't know what does. You know what I mean? That program has been supposedly on the cuff, but they never break through. And now I just think the wheels have completely fallen off. When you think of those scores, like you said, you think of East Texas, you think of Portland State, you don't think of Oklahoma State. You know what I mean? So has it really fallen off that bad? You know what I mean? So again, I'm not really a huge fan. So I'm okay with that score.
Yeah.
But, that program has never really hit rock bottom. But if this score is any indication, they right there.
Oh, boy. Trouble in the Stillwater. And it only helps when Mike Gundy talks about not having funding and how he can't pay as much money to his players. And then Dan Lanning, anything media and Dan Lanning, he was going to run with and clicks and likes like Dan. They took it to him 69-3. Dan. So, oh man, that was an interesting game. I didn't expect it to go that bad for him, but shoot,
they looked like a 1AA team playing a Power 5. They really did.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look ahead to week 3 here, Coach, we got some good games coming up here that we get to break down here at the end of the week. Georgia and Tennessee here is the headliner. College game day is coming out here to Knoxville, to Neyland Stadium. It's going to be an absolute electric weekend out here in the South. South Florida coming hot off a victory against the Gators, take on the Canes and Carson Beck. That's going to be a fun one. Vanderbilt and South Carolina, which is going to be, I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. Vanderbilt is not a pushover, and they're a good football team, coached well, and I think they got Diego Pavia in a pretty good spot against South Carolina here, so that could be a good game. Colorado, like we mentioned, takes on Houston. That's going to be something to watch here. Georgia Tech and Clemson ACC showdown. That's going to be a good one as well. Coach, what games are you looking forward to on this list for the weekend here before we get you out of here?
That Alabama game has a lot of steam to it.
Wisconsin, they play. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one to watch for sure.
Coach DeBoer they've got to look good. They've got to look good, or it just gets even hotter. And then the other one, LSU Florida, like we just talked about. I think if LSU goes out there and boat races Florida, they're going to find a way to get that, $11 million. They'll find a way to get that to Coach so he can move on. And that Clemson Georgia Tech game, now we're going to really see where Clemson is, because Georgia Tech's a pretty good ball club. I don't know if people really realize that or not, but they are, and they're really tough. They run the ball. They have a really good quarterback. So that one there could be really good. But I think the most heat on this slate right now is definitely Alabama. They can't struggle.
No, not against Wisconsin, against a team who I think is going to, be determined, if anything, to take them out. Georgia Tech, I think, has a serious shot of beating Clemson. And I'm high on Clemson, but Georgia Tech is just a tough football team. It is tough to stop Haynes King. I think they have an absolute shot to take out Clemson. And I mean, I don't know if you watched that weather delay game with Troy. Coach Clemson, expecting him to play a little bit better against Troy. I don't know. Threw a pick six, Klubnik-itis. I'm like, oh, okay. We'll see about that. Vanderbilt and South Carolina is going to be one I watch. Florida better. Again, tough spot for Napier, Coach. Tough spot for Napier. And, going to be a good weekend of college football ahead, Coach, to say the least. Coach, you got a guest for Common Man Podcast on Wednesday?
We haven't got him scheduled yet, but we're going to get a coach from Winston-Salem State. He'll be on. So we'll talk about, their season, their Division II HBCU program. So looking forward to getting him on. And, we'll definitely have Dr. Kinsey on talking about neck injuries and what young parents of young kids need to do and look for. So we'll continue on Wednesday, man, the drive at 5, man. I appreciate the shout out every time, Bailey.
Yes, sir. Go check out Coach Fred on the Common Man Podcast. Like he just mentioned, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central. Does a hell of a job, really growing up his show. Got all kinds of special guests on this. You got to go check out his old shows. He's got all kinds of wild guests on there, all kinds of people. You'd be like, whoa, Coach Fred's well connected there. Got all kinds of people on the show. So go check him out over on the Common Man Podcast. Coach Fred, can't thank you enough. Love to have you back on later in the week. I'll holler at you, and we'll see you next week for a college football review, week 3.
Appreciate it, Big.
Absolutely. Have a good Monday. Shout out to Alcorn State Coach Leroy Frederick for joining the show, giving his breakdown here of the whole weekend of college football. A lot of different games to react to, and this weekend it's going to keep getting better here. The season's rolling, folks. It's the best time of the year. This is the channel for all football fans, college football, NFL wise. We'll dive into more NFL talk tomorrow. We got our main man. He's been on the show before. He's a reporter over at the Sporting News. He does a hell of a job here. Has been doing it for a long time. Our main man, Bill Bender, joins the show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern here to talk all things college football news, a little bit of NFL here, but really to talk all things college football news. He is the main man, one of the best reporters out there in the business, been doing it a long time. Can't thank him enough for joining. It's going to be a hell of a show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk some Colorado. We'll talk some Florida State, Florida Gators, Bill Napier. We'll go SEC. We'll talk it all here with our main man, Bill Bender, joining the show tomorrow. College football reporter for the Sporting News, reporter and writer. Tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching, go ahead and pound that like button, subscribe, become a member. And thank you all enough for tuning in here. It's been a good show here. A lot of people in the chat here. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all the support here. And we'll be back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, Bailey Price Media Live, 1 p.m. Pacific. So don't miss it. And it's going to be a hell of a show with our main man, college football writer for the Sporting News, Bill Bender. Pound that like button, subscribe, become a member, and enjoy your Monday. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. And, a lot of interesting headlines in college football, but this is the show. The premier show for college football and for football fans. I'll see you tomorrow, folks, 4 p.m. Eastern. Peace.